What's going on, guys? So this is a procreate process for a piece I call Godly Hair. And as I said in a previous video, I don't usually name my pieces, but for the sake of YouTube, I'm going to start naming them. So the idea behind this piece was I wanted to do something kind of beautiful. I've been watching a lot of people's art videos and I thought I lack a lot of beauty in my actual art. And I don't usually create art itself. I create a lot of style tests and I do a lot of experimentation and a lot of speed paintings. When I sit down to create actual art, I think that process requires a little bit more thought. So to be honest, this was just a long form style test. This wasn't me trying to be really artistic, but I guess because it took longer, I can kind of put it in the category of art, right? Just because I spent a little bit more time on it, but really that it's quite a simple image. It's not that complicated. It's just a girl with like hair that kind of seems to move on its own. It has its own personality, and that's pretty much it. I was gonna add some flowers. I was gonna do all this kind of like extra stuff to kind of bump it up because I've been watching a lot of people that kind of add stuff like that to their work. I didn't get around to that just because I like the way it felt just with the hair. I like the emphasis on just the hair, and then I wouldn't have like known where to put those flowers anyway, stuff like that. So overall, this piece kind of took me a few hours in Procreate, but I didn't do it all in one day. I think I was doing it, across a few days, and I was really happy to like look at it when I opened it. And that's a good feeling to have. It's one of the few pieces that when I kind of was working on it, I didn't think, oh, this is Procreate. I was just thinking, oh, I'm just creating this piece of art, and I didn't feel like I had like any artistic restrictions, because I still at this point didn't really find my footing in terms of like how I was using Procreate. And I guess a lot of people don't have this issue, or maybe they do, but for me this was a real issue. Excuse my phone, it's going off. But for me it was a real issue. The fact that I didn't feel at home in Procreate, and that was an issue for me. But in the end, I ended up making a set of brushes to do studies with, and they ended up being the brushes I was used for this, and they have this nice gritty texture. And I think one of the brushes that I used I ended up altering it, and that ends up becoming like my favorite brush that I use now. So I still kind of use brushes from this kind of process. But overall, it was just a fun experience to do something like this. And it I didn't learn that much. I just learned that like hair is fun to paint, because I don't really do that much pretty kind of like, I'd call it like feminine art. It's not really feminine art though, it's just more kind of focused on beauty. I don't draw that many girls either, unless they're characters in like an IP or something. I don't just draw that many girls for the sake of it, and that's one of my weaknesses in terms of I need to draw more girls for the sake of drawing more girls. If I die tomorrow, none of my favorite pieces will be girls, and I don't like that. I like the idea that I'll have a lot of girls. There was a period of time when I was doing a daily sketch every day. I called it a daily sketch, but really they'd take me a few hours, right? And a lot of them were studies, a lot of them were girls from my imagination. And I did a project called Girl a Day, and I was meant to do 100. I don't think I did 100, but I was meant to do 100. So I have got girl images, but that both of those things I just mentioned were years ago. So I need to get to a point where I'm doing girl characters a lot more often, just because it adds a different dynamic, and it appeals to a different fan base too. If you do girl artwork, there'd be probably a lot more girls that like the thing that you're creating than just guys, I guess it's something to think about for me. Oh, there I go. I just realized I changed the sky to blue, or the background to blue. And I like that change because I try to add some ambient light on the hair, kind of coming from the sky, just to kind of add some more artistic merit to this piece. If you look at it closely, I added some makeup to her eyes. I added like a kind of like symbol in the middle of her head, because I'm always trying to add some lore ticks. So maybe this character gets brought into one of my IPs at some point. I'm not sure. Maybe her hair just does this. Maybe it's not even a power that she uses. I don't want her to be like Medusa from the from the Inhumans. I don't want her to be like that. I want her to just be a character whose hair is like this. You know, maybe she activates her power and her hair does this or whatever it is. Or maybe she's just a goddess who has this flowing hair. I'm not sure. But if I ever do put her in like an intellectual property, I guess that will be something I've thought about, right? Because I don't usually like to waste characters. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the piece. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Instagram. Please like, subscribe, share. It helps me get off the ground. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.